Can you
That's
see
cool.
the screen?
Yeah, that's cool as hell. I like that.
Okay, so it's now been almost a minute, so stop the music and
Stop the music. Stop the music.
stop that and get up here.
Oh,
Oh,
I got
it's
to sit
only
up straight.
Tuesday. It's not Friday, it's only Tuesday. Son of a, I'm thinking it's Friday. I'm going to be honest. I'm thinking it's Friday. Oh,
Oh, that's rich.
okay. Well, I'll just have to change everything after the stream's over with. Because it's too late to change it now since we've gone live. All right. Well, stop everything. You're right, Data. You're right. Stop everything. It's Tuesday. And my wife were just talking about this morning because she's got to work today and I got to work tonight. So I'll be asleep before she gets off work. Because I take a nap on Tuesdays, I take a nap before I go into work on third shift. So, and I get up, I've got an alarm set for 8:15, and I actually managed to get out of the bedroom about 8:30 or so. By the time I get up, brush my teeth, comb my hair, and get dressed, come out, make a cup of coffee, and sit down. License and registration.
Right? I
No,
wasn't I wasn't driving recklessly.
you don't have authority to see my driver's license. Oh, Lord have mercy. And I tell you, last night I made chicken wings for dinner. And I mean, I've got a really great recipe for the batter and everything. And for some reason, I believe it or not, I've actually, even at 65, I've got a full head of hair. My poor son, on the other hand, he started going bald when he was a junior in high school. So he
Well,
just puts a number 2 on the hair trimmer and goes to town.
yeah, both my grandfathers were bald on top, had the fringe around the side. That's the way I'm going to wind up. There's no way around it. It's
So,
already halfway there.
well, yeah, but I mean, you're not a high school student either. My poor son, I mean,
Oh, I had a 5 head in high school.
he he, he had the 6 head in high school. He really did. His hair was receded, but it had to
And
come from his mother's side because everybody on my father's side had full head of hair.
yeah, I don't look at it as losing hair as much as I look at it as gaining face.
Well, I guess that's one way to do it.
Well, it also leads into a joke of when a bald man washes his face, where does he know to stop?
Okay, Data, it is Tuesday. And the thing is I packed up my bag, my work. I've got a laptop case that I take into work with me every night. On on the 2 nights a week I'm allowed to work, and uh, it's a portable office. I mean, I've got everything from paper cutter, uh, pens, paper, bull clips of different sizes. I've got a toolbox in there. I've got 30 some odd different size screw heads and sockets.
I don't even want to go into how many tools I have.
Well, no. This is what I have inside my uh, briefcase that I take into work with me
I
because
get you.
I fit. Things break at work. I go into work and things are broke, and I do my best to have everything fixed before I leave work.
Yeah, yeah, no,
And
I feel
that
you.
and that's including cabinets. The screws come loose on those Swedish hinges,
Yeah, those things
and
suck.
yeah, they do. And when if they're not treated correctly, and these people, these youngins I work with, they like to slam the doors and such.
Or lean on them, or
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
so I'm constantly fixing them. Right now, I've got one problem at work I can't fix. The boss has got to call in an expert. Every time we plug in our fax line, we lose all of our phones. Our entire phone system goes down.
Damn.
Every time we plug in our fax machine.
Yeah,
So
that sounds like an electrical problem.
yeah, there's a problem somewhere that I just don't have the knowledge to fix. Um, I asked them if they've swapped out the box, and they said they did. So if they swapped out the box, yeah, hey, I was a Boy Scout too. I made Eagle. The troop folded before, just as I was getting ready to turn in all my stuff or I made Life. I was getting ready to turn in my stuff for Eagle when the troop folded. I I just finished my last merit badge required, and I'd already done my Eagle project, but I
Yeah,
was
that's what kept me from my Eagle is my project.
yeah I did my project. It was a campsite restoration, and but the I just I was just finishing up my last merit badge that I needed, and the troop folded on me, and there was not another. When you're from a small town, more animals on any one farm than there are people.
Oh yeah.
Uh, when the troop folds, there's not another troop around that you can go to join to get your eagle with.
Yeah.
So,
Well, a lot of times in a case like that, they will still, as long as everything has been submitted, they'll still
yeah,
honor it,
that
regardless
was
if
the
you're in a troop or not.
that was the problem. My it had not been submitted yet because I just finished my last merit badge, so there was no troop to submit my paperwork for. Hey, I made uh, Order the Arrow,
Yep.
and then I got into leadership when I was in Germany in the Air Force. I was a scoutmaster and a Weeblo's den leader at the same time. It was assistant scoutmaster.
Every Every person that has ever walked on the moon has been an Eagle Scout.
And I got hey, morning, Paul.
Morning,
And
Paul.
then I went to work Wood Badge. So that was we lovingly started calling ourselves the Rip and Run team. All our patches were velcroed on our uniforms. That way we didn't have to have 5 different sets of uniforms. We just carried all 5 patches with us.
There you go.
And whichever position we were filling at the time was the patch we put on our shirts.
Right.
Wood Badge are the people that train the scout leaders. So I would say I was training Boy Scout leaders and Cub Scout leaders at the same time.
That's awesome. My grandfather was Eagle, also got the Golden Bear or
cool.
Silver Beaver, not Golden Bear, Silver Beaver Award.
Still,
my dad
very
was an
cool.
Eagle. Dad was an Eagle. Brother was an Eagle. There was even, as a matter of fact, I remember it distinctly. It was 1977, the spring, that my brother, Dad, and I went down to my dad's parents' house in Augusta. And Dad, brother, and grandfather all went on a Boy Scout trip. And I was not allowed to go because I was not ordered of the arrow at that time. So I just went to the Masters instead. But the OA outing, my family was honored because my brother had just gotten ordeal. My dad had just been bumped into brotherhood, and my grandfather was vigil. So you had 3 generations in all 3 steps of OA.
Yeah, I was vigil.
I never made it out of ordeal.
They just had I just got a breaking news. Luigi Mangioni's state terrorism charges dismissed by a judge. Son of a bitch.
Well, I will have to tend to side with the judge on this one. I don't want to, but I'll have to. And the reason being is he is not labeled a terrorist.
Okay, no, what it is he dropped the state charges because of the federal charges are still there.
Well, it doesn't matter. He's going for murder anyway.
Right.
Doesn't matter what other charges there are. He's going for murder. I mean, that's how plea bargains work is, we're going to make sure you're going to jail. We'll drop these other charges, but you're still not getting out.
Okay. Appeared in court Tuesday morning, New York City, where the judge ruled to dismiss the state terrorism charges. Mangione's lawyers were fighting to have the state charges thrown out entirely, arguing the parallel cases amount to double jeopardy.
No, it doesn't.
In his written decision Tuesday, Judge Gregory Caro ruled against the request. The defense also asked for the terrorisms to be dropped, arguing that they don't apply. Prosecutors, however, alleged Mangione's intent was to violently broadcast a social and political message to the public at large. The judge ruled to dismiss both terrorism charges. Murder in the first degree and the furtherance of an act of terrorism, and murder in the second degree as an crime of terrorism, writing they were legally insufficient.
Yeah, I don't see what he did as a terrorist act.
I do.
I really don't.
I do, because he did. Remember, the definition of terrorism, okay, is to further political or social change by fear or through fear, okay? And by assassinating the CEO of a healthcare company, of United Healthcare, he was wanting to throw fear into the remaining CEOs of healthcare companies to change their policies.
Well, maybe I'm splitting hairs, and we could call that corporate terrorism, but
It's
I wouldn't call it terrorism.
it's still attempting to force political or social change through fear. I think the judge was wrong.
Well, what are the federal charges? Do the federal charges still have terrorists?
No, the judge dropped all the terrorism charges.
The federal or the state?
Both. Federal and state.
I
The
would
only
have thought
thing
that'd have to be two different rulings, one on the
the
federal level and one on the state level.
the judge ruled to dismiss both terrorism charges, murder in the first degree in furtherance of an act of terrorism, and murder in the second degree as a crime of terrorism, writing they were legally insufficient.
No,
He
they
still
could just turn around
faces
and go murder in the first degree, and it's the same sentence.
no, Mangione will still face second degree murder and weapons charges in the state case.
I bet they go with first degree murder in the federal case because it was planned. There's no way that guy could have just randomly come across somebody he didn't know and shot him. It had to have been premeditated. So I don't know how they can even consider second degree. It was premeditated. He took the time to find out who it was, to find out where he was, and then committed the act.
Yeah.
I don't see how they can go with second degree. I could see him pleading to second degree, but I do not see how they can get away with not charging him with first degree. But I am also not a lawyer, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Jack, I have been through the court systems on both sides, so take that for what it's worth.
I've come close, but I've never been to court. When I was active duty, I was arrested at the gym. With the charges were disobeying a direct order, disrespect to an officer, and conduct unbecoming an NCO.
Those are some pretty serious charges.
Yep. And my lawyer from the JAG office went to the officer and said, okay, fine. If you want to pursue those charges against him, I will be pursuing charges against you for conduct unbecoming an officer and issuing threats to an NCO, issuing physical threats against an NCO. So he dropped it. What it was is, and this is the most stupid thing in the world. 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm in the gym playing racquetball with my roommate. All right. This guy comes walking into the racquetball court and said he wants to play. And he wants, play a triple game. And my roommate and I looked at him and told him to go get bent, but not such polite terminology. Well, he started raising hell, and I told him to go take a flying leap at a rolling donut in a gravel pit. Again, and not so polite terminology. And then I went to the locker room, grabbed a shower, and started changing clothes back into my street clothes. Well, he come walking in, still in his gym attire, t-shirt and gym and pair of cut-off shorts, cut-off sweatpants, and demanded to see my ID. And once again, I told him to go take a flying leap in not so polite terminology. And I went to leave, and the gentleman in charge of the gym told me I couldn't leave and that the security police were on their way to talk to me. So I'm in the office and I'm talking to the guy, the gym guy, and he's a pretty cool character. Him and I've talked before. Sky Cop shows up, and it's one of the guys I work with in scouting. And he asked for my ID, and I hand it to him. Well, this this guy who later I found out was an officer. I did not know he was an officer at this time. As far as I knew, he was a German that had authorization to use the gym for some reason. And he went to grab my ID out of the Sky Cop's hands, and I blocked him. I refused to allow him to see my ID. You don't have authorization. I have no clue who in the hell you are. And then that's when he identified himself to me as a major. And I got handcuffed and a ride in the back seat of a Sky Cop car to the little jail they had. Well, I sat back and propped my feet up on the coffee table and went to sleep. Next thing I know, I got some Sky Cop coming in, cussing me out for having my feet on the coffee table. And I said, you know something, I'm sitting in here handcuffed for using almost that exact terminology.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. Yep. So when I got to see my lawyer 2 days later, the commander was not happy coming up and getting me out of jail at 7:00 in the morning. The first sergeant was out of town, so the commander had to come up and sign me out.
That doesn't look good for the major.
You'd have a lieutenant colonel come in and sign you out of jail at 7:00 in the morning on a Monday morning when you were supposed to be at work at 7:00. Not a good sign. Not a good sign. And I went, changed clothes, reported to work. Got there about 9:00 by the time I got done explaining everything. Then I had to turn around and explain everything to the people at work. And the senior master sergeant that was in charge was not a very happy camper. The E8 the E8 that was in charge was not a very happy camper about that.
In which way? Was he not happy that you were detained, or was not happy that the major detained you?
He was not happy that, one, I was late to work, two, that I'd been arrested, and three, that the commander had to sign me out.
Well, I care less who signed you out.
Well, no,
that ain't coming back on me.
Well, because he knew that was going to just cause all kinds of hell to be raised at their meeting. And, he didn't like to be the focal point of the weekly meeting with the commander. So, but then, like I said, there were witnesses as to the language that this officer used and everything else. So he dropped the charges, and I ended up. I never did go back and play racquetball for the rest of my tour in Germany. It was like, nah, this isn't worth it. The only fun exercise I had, and I got it taken away from me.
Almost seems like the Army way.
Yeah, but anyway, No, you didn't hear my tummy rumble because I ate some of the banana bread I made yesterday afternoon when I got up this morning. I had 4 bananas left over that were they were nicely ripened, and I used them up this yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay. Since we're talking about trials and such, I had a bit of a curiosity, last night, watching the news, and I had a question about, all this information the Department of Justice and Cash Patel and the rest are releasing to the media on the Charlie Kirk shooting. Are they releasing way too much information where it's going to impede or hurt the trial?
I mean, personally, I don't know why they're doing it other than to attempt to appease the masses.
Right.
But it's not to appease us, meaning those that aren't left. I'm not going to say the right, but the ones that are not left.
Right.
It's I don't think it's more to appease them as it is to anger the left.
Well,
because that is the tone to some degree, I would say, to more than half of their display is that, yeah, the right is not going to put up with it, and we're going to do what we can to really piss you off and show you why. Meaning pissing off the left. But I think they're ultimately hurting themselves.
Okay, so this is the question I posed to AI this morning. Is the DOJ releasing too much information about the Kirk murder? Will it compromise the trial? And it actually came back with a really good answer. While transparency in the high-profile cases like the Charlie Kirk murder investigation is important for public trust, experts and officials have noticed that releasing extensive details too early can risk compromising the investigation, influencing potential jurors, and complicating evidence handling.
It's that right there. Influencing potential jurors. Yeah, he's not going to get a fair trial. Not.
That and the evidence handling is the two that I was concerned about.
I'm not so much concerned about the evidence.
Well, have the judge throw out the evidence. Just having the judge throw it out the evidence because it's already been made public.
I agree with what you have highlighted there, that yes, all it's doing is tainting the jury pool.
Yep.
And that's where I think it's going to hurt them. You don't release all your information. You say, we caught him. This is what we, at this point, believe. Not this is what we know. This is what we believe. And this is how we're going to move forward. But no, they have to go, oh, we know this, we know this, we know this. All you're doing is telling your defense exactly how you're going to try and prosecute.
Well, they have to release all that to the defense anyway.
To the defense, not to the public.
But yeah, that's my problem is I think they're releasing way too much evidence to the public. So,
as far as what they have shown, yeah, the gun, I don't have a problem with that. Everything else, pretty much they need to keep their mouth shut. Oh, we're looking at Discord. Oh, let's give everybody a chance to delete everything. And more so showing the gun that, yeah, it wasn't an AR-15, guys. Oh, we're not coming after your hunting rifles. He used a hunting rifle. He didn't use an AR. Oh, no. I mean, that is probably the best right defense against the left trying to take the Second Amendment.
Right. I think, when they should have stopped when they talked about the bullets, the
They
engravings
shouldn't have
on the
mentioned the
bullets.
bullets.
That's what I'm saying. They should
Yeah.
have stopped that. They should have stopped there, saying we've got the gun, we've got the ammunition, and then everything else is saying it's all under investigation, and everything will come out at the trial. And that should have been the end of it. But they're making a media circus out of it.
Yeah, and again, it's more the jury pool than anything else. That's
Okay.
that's the part that people don't get.
All right,
How
we'll
much
see
is
this.
it in the media means that the trial has a greater chance of failing.
Okay. Legal and law enforcement experts have expressed concerns that divulging too many operational details prematurely can impact jury impartiality by exposing them to prejudicial information before the trial, compromise the chain of evidence by revealing investigative techniques or evidence details, preempt prosecutorial strategies and weaken the case for negotiations or defenses, cause confusion amongst the public, especially when incomplete or speculative facts are circulated, lead to harassment or threats of misidentified individuals, like that Mr. Zim, that was the old man that was initially arrested or detained.
Actually, I think he was eventually arrested because, but that doesn't matter.
Right.
I
Well,
did I did see a lot of people saying that he was a distraction.
right. Well, he was misidentified evidently at the beginning.
I saw a bunch of people saying that he was a distraction for what's his
Oh,
face
okay.
to actually get away.
I see what you're saying.
The police would focus on the old guy and let the young guy get.
Right. So, anyway, and this was pretty much when I was watching the news last night with the wife, and they're doing the talking about the DNA on the towels and everything, and I'm like, they're releasing way too much information out this early. I mean, this isn't going to go to trial for at least a year. It's going to take a year for this to go to trial. Look. I mean, look. This Luigi Mangione trial. It hadn't even started yet. And how long ago was that shooting?
Oh, I have no idea. I
Yeah.
can't even remember now.
Yeah. It's been a very long time. So. Okay. Oh, I just now got your message that you DM'd me on X. Okay, so let's see here. Um, go to this sad news here.
Yeah.
There we go. Robert Redford died this morning.
The last of them are not with us much longer.
Yep. Ah, 89 years old.
He truly is on that golden pond. No, that was his dad, wasn't it?
No, Redford
Was that
had nothing. No, no, you're thinking of the 12 Angry Men.
Henry Fonda was who I was
Fonda. Yeah, Henry, you're thinking of the Fonda family.
thinking. Yeah. My bad.
Jane,
My bad.
yeah. Yeah, Henry Fonda and Katharine Hepburn were on Golden Pond. But anyway, Bush Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, great movie.
Yep.
Jeremiah Johnson, I love Jeremiah Johnson. Watched that as a kid. The Sting, that soundtrack was fantastic to The Sting. Plus, it was a good movie.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
The Way We Were,
I don't think I saw that one.
All the President's Men. He did a good job in the movie. They just took the movie itself. They just took too many
Liberties.
Thank you, liberties with the facts for that movie. The Natural, a good movie.
Yep.
Of the movies listed here, I'd in the order that I'd recommend them would be pretty much the way they're listed there. Butch Cassidy, then Jeremiah Johnson, then The Sting, then The Natural. I just wouldn't worry about The Way We Were or All the President's Men. I wouldn't worry about either one of those. I wouldn't rewatch either one of them, but the rest of them I'd watch.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, the other four I would watch in a heartbeat. Watch again. In fact, I probably will. I think I've got this thing on DVD. I think I'll plug that in and watch that this week. Maybe take it into work and watch it at work tonight.
There you go.
That's the nice thing about working third shift. I can, I watch movies and old TV shows. Like right now, I'm rewatching MacGyver.
Oh, I just saw a. Where did I see that? I think it was on Twitter. A brief recap of the history of Colombo.
Oh,
It was an 4 or 5 paragraphs, but it was really an interesting read as to how the whole Colombo thing came across.
Oh, Columbo was, I like the show. My wife absolutely loves it, and she watches the repeats every day.
And his signature line, and another thing.
Yes, one more thing.
Ad-libbed. Because
Really?
they ran out of things for him to do. And he walked out the door, counted to 5, turned around and came back in, and that line forever sealed. That became part of every show thereafter.
Yep.
And there were 3 different people that actually played Columbo. There were 2 before Peter Falk. But again, I'm sorry, I've taken you off of.
Now that you've got me, you've got me interested.
I'll hunt the link down and I'll DM it to you.
Who played Columbo?
I don't remember if I liked it or not. Yeah, I did. Cool.
Bing Cosby
of Columbo Day.
Okay. Oh, Bing Crosby was originally eyed for the role. Ooh.
Yeah, Bing and I forget who the other person was original. There were two original considerations. One didn't want to do it because it interfered with
Lee
his golf,
Lee
and the
J.
other one,
Cobb.
and the
Lee
other
J.
one,
Cobb
yeah.
was also considered.
But Bing didn't want to do it because it would interfere with his golf.
Right. Lee J. Cobb would have been good. I like Lee J. Cobb. He was a good actor.
I put both of those or that link on Twitter, both in DM and on
Okay.
chat if you want it.
Falk was trying to get join the CIA. Interesting.
A lot of the old actors had far more talents than most people knew.
Yeah.
And actors today don't have one third the talent
Oh no, they don't.
or a
There's
variety of talents. I mean, look at Fred Astaire, look at Bing Crosby, look at, I mean, these guys didn't have just one thing. They weren't just actors. They
well,
were
there.
musicians, they were tap dancers, they were
Yeah.
vaudeville, they had things way outside of acting.
Um, Bob Newhart is an exception to that rule, but then Bob Newhart's also an older actor.
But he was a comedian as well.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Bob Newhart had multiple.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you remember the TV show Michael J. Fox, Charlie Sheen, either Government or what was that? No, I don't want to leave. But there was a side character reoccurring. I mean, he was part of the cast, but he was like the goofiest, dumbest guy of all of them. But come to find out, phenomenal tap dancer. I mean, he could have had a career in tap dancing.
I'm trying to think.
IMDb, let's go there. Look at the wiki real quick.
Never want to know about the wet work of a furry trans team. Yeah, Paul, that's I again back, I think that's another reason why they're releasing a lot of this information is the proclivities of this character. He was definitely way out on the weird side of the.
The TV show I was trying to find was called Spin City.
Oh, I remember the show, but I never watched it.
It was a really good show. Really good.
I am not a fan of comedies per se. Even though I liked both the Bob Newhart shows, that's because they were more. I mean, they weren't just comedies; they a little bit more intelligence were written into them. But that was about as far as I would go as far as enjoying a comedy show. Until you get to the old slapsticks. I mean, now you put on the Three Stooges, Charlie Chaplin,
Yeah.
Buster Keaton, and about any of the old vaudeville stuff. And
classics, Laurel and Hardy, Abbott and Costello.
Right, right. Um, the Little Rascals.
Hell, even Gilligan's Island.
No,
No.
no. I've got very thin. If it weren't for Marianne, there'd be nothing on that show I liked.
Or what was it? The Lives and Loves of Dobie Gillis.
Gillis, yeah, The Lives and Loves of Dobie Gillis.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
such an out there TV show.
Him and that goatee he had in that show.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Let's see here.
Oh, McHale's Navy.
Oh, McHale's Navy was fun. I was only allowed to watch that at my grandmother's house.
Right. Now, was your dad in the military?
Yeah, he was 18 years in the Army.
And they wouldn't let you. Well, I mean, I guess because it was Navy, maybe.
Now, my dad didn't like shows that ridiculed the military.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
You know, he was literally, you know that old famous I got kicked out because I punched an officer story.
Yeah.
You know, well, my dad literally was kicked out of the Army for punching a lieutenant. He was a master sergeant, E8 master sergeant, and he punched a lieutenant in formation one day in front of a bunch of people. So they gave him his walking papers. And he had a open warrant in Washington, D.C. He was not allowed back in Washington, D.C. So
the only thing about the military that I don't particularly like is just because you went to college doesn't necessarily make you officer material.
Right. Well, that's one thing I liked about the Army is they got the warrant officer ranks, and college education wasn't required for warrant officer. But there's what's his name from the Many Loves of Dobie Gillis with his goatee, his hippie, his beatnik.
Yeah, if you had Bob Denver.
Yeah.
Well, and the only reason I bring that up is it was a guy I was in high school with.
Right.
He was, I think, 2 years behind me. Might have been a year, but anyway, he graduated, went off to school at University of South Carolina, studied music, and is now a lieutenant colonel of the he's the director of the Air Force Band.
Oh,
he's a musician and he's a lieutenant colonel. He may be a full bird now, I forget, but I remember seeing something a couple of years ago that he got his promotion.
My biggest heartburn is the Air Force. When I was active duty, this happened. A woman joined the Air Force band, music, whatever, that group, straight from civilian to that group. Okay.
Yeah.
And they made her an E7 right off the bat. She walked in the door, went through whatever orientation she had to go through, She didn't have to go through basic or anything.
Right. Yeah.
Went straight to this music group
Didn't
as
have to do
as a
OTC
singer,
or yeah.
and they made her an East. They handed her E7 stripes.
Yeah.
Oh, I was absolutely infuriated when I read that article.
I mean, I've got nothing against Donnie, but yeah, I just that's something that has always chapped my ass. Now, to some degree, such as like a doctor, we'll go with the example of MASH, that the doctors went in as captains.
Right, they still do.
Uh, they're in control of the operating room, so yeah, they do need to have some sort of authority. I can get that.
Well, it's more for the pay because they want them to come in and be able, hey,
Make a living, sure.
yeah, you've gone through college, you've gone through medical school, you've gone through residency. You've put a lot of your life into this.
You show dedication.
Right. You deserve a good paycheck.
And something like that, I don't necessarily have an
Uh,
issue with. But
uh,
a fucking band director?
like a physician assistant will go in as a first lieutenant,
Which is
and
why the LT name gets such a bad rap.
so well, I mean but again, a PA is put in a lot of time to learn the medical. I mean, nurses go in depending on what their skills were. Like my sister, when she was going to join, she was a cardiac care specialist nurse. She was going to go in as a captain. Then they found out she had a heart murmur and they wouldn't let her go in.
Oh, yeah.
So, but yeah, there.
I wish I had been offered uh, a diversion program back when I was young and doing stupid shit, and I wish I would have joined. I really do. I mean, especially given what is going on today. I wish I had joined.
Well, I joined. Basically, I joined because I was working at a television station. And 1978, I was making $7 an hour.
Wow, that's big
Yeah,
money back then.
that was huge money, especially for an 18-year-old still in high school, making $7 an hour. Minimum wage is like two and a quarter.
Yeah, yeah. I remember I started at the arcade in '84, making $5 an hour,
Yeah,
and that was unheard of,
and well, see,
especially at an arcade.
I was already licensed. I was already a licensed engineer
Wow.
when I was 18. When I turned 18. I went to Cleveland and took the FCC test. Took all four of them and got my license.
Nice.
So that was a day and a half, man. I tell you, you talk about being wrung out. That was back when you actually had to know electronics to get your license. Now because everything was manually done back then. Now it's all computerized, so I don't know what the licensing requirements are anymore.
Yeah, back then everything was still hand crank.
Damn near, damn near, damn near. We we had a lightning strike on our tower, and we ended up with a lightning ball bouncing around inside our engineering room because it came down the wiring through the transmitter, and this big ball of fire, lightning, whatever you want to call it, bouncing around inside. It was amazing. We all jumped in the pit to stay away from it.
Hey, you got some exciting stories.
But then the station was being sold, and the FCC stepped in and said, "Your station is too white and male. You need to hire women and minorities before we'll grant the sale of the station." I mean, that was back in the days of affirmative action, and the government told them that
I would think that would be the responsibility of the buyer, not the seller.
so they
Because usually when you sell a radio station, everybody either leaves or you're offered a position, and that is contingent upon the company that is purchasing. I don't see how they could do that.
well, we were all. I mean, they evidently they everybody was staying with the station. I know I was. They told us there'd be nobody was being fired or anything until the government stepped in, and so they went and hired some minorities and women off the street that had no clue what the hell was going on, and I got laid off.
Would have paid them minimum wage and told them to go stand over in the corner.
So I got laid off. So I was like, well, I'm not going back to digging potatoes for a living. I'm not going. I found out how easy it was to make a living with my brain instead of my back. So I joined the Air Force and ended up working the flight line for 20 years.
Yeah, I never learned to not work with my back. I wish I had. But I'm thankful for all the jobs that I've had in my life.
Oh yeah, I'm working on. Even though I wanted to go to AFRTS when I joined the service, I would not give up what I had learned and done while I was active duty on the flight line. Yeah, Data, that was having that ball of lightning or fire or whatever the hell it was bouncing around in the control room scared the piss out of all of us.
What was your job on the flight line?
F-15 avionics.
Wow.
Radar, flight controls, weapons release, communications, navigation.
Did you ever get to ride in one?
Oh yeah, I was on the hurricane evacuation team.
Oh.
And I got 3 rides.
Oh.
Had to go through the altitude chamber.
Yeah.
Of course, the pilot let me steer the plane, turn the controls over to me for a couple minutes.
Right.
From the back seat, which was fun as hell. I went cold Mike one time. We were flying, and there four of us jets were up there, and I went cold, shut off my mic, and I'm sitting there going, "You're getting too close to the other jet. I can count the rivets holding that panel up." Literally, I could count the fasteners holding the panels on. That's how close they were flying to each other. I mean that was normal for them.
Yeah.
But for me, on my first flight, it's like this is too damn close.
Again, the experiences I just absolutely mind-boggling.
Yeah, I mean, My worst week in the Air Force, absolutely worst week. We were in Germany, exercise, and come to find, we found out later it was more than just an exercise, but went got they came in and closed down the NCO club at 1 o'clock in the morning and told us all to report to work. And we thought it was a NATO TAC eval. And it was Friday before any of us saw anything besides the inside of the Tab V that we were in with our jets. I mean, we ate sea rats all week that week. And I mean, they brought out Porta Johns and put every few Tab V's. The Tab V is a hardened shelter that the jets were in. And they brought out some Porta Johns and dropped off every few Tab V's for us to go to, and that was it. They went around and asked the women if they needed any tampons or pads, but we were in the no showers, no nothing for that week. Most of us burned our clothes that we were wearing when we got back. Burned our underwear and t-shirts and socks, just threw them away. Uniforms we washed 2 or 3 times before we'd wear them. I mean, we were all nasty.
Send them back to the quartermaster, get something else.
No such critter. We bought our own uniforms. Once a year, they gave us $300 for uniforms. And that was our uniform maintenance for the year, to buy uniforms and maintain them for the year. You got $300. So the F-15, Paul, is one of the few jets that literally can take off vertically. At Luke Air Force Base, there were, in 1979, burn marks on the runway from a pilot who did a vertical takeoff. We thought he was going to end up crashing that jet, because as soon as the wheels broke the ground, he pulled back on that stick, and the afterburners literally put burn marks on the runway. But it was one of the few jets, I think it was the first jet that could actually fly vertically like that. It had so much horsepower, so much thrust generated by those GE 100s. Well, it started off with the Pratt & Whitneys. Then it went to the GEs.
My favorite plane will always be the A-10.
The A-10,
it's the ugliest, most beautiful plane in the world.
The only plane in the world designed around this gun.
We got this gun. Let's make it into a plane.
Yeah, you're right.
And we'll let it carry anything and everything it wants.
No, Paul, it can fly with one wing. It needs both wings. It needs at least one wing to fly. I've seen it happen. A pilot sheared off a wing when he hit a guy wire for a television tower. Sheared the wing right off.
Those reports of a guy over in during the Gulf War that came home. He said as he was flying back to base, he could look out and see his landing gear through the wing.
Yep.
And he didn't know that he only had half a tail. He didn't know that until he landed and got out. Went, oh shit!
The F-15 is the only jet ever to shoot down a satellite.
Oh really?
Yes,
I had never heard that.
satellite killer.
That's kind of cool.
So that's how high that sucker could fly. And then they had the Streak Eagle, which set the the speed record. The only paint on the jet was the design for was the Eagle's head with the lines coming off the back of it. That was the only paint on the jet. It was bare ass metal.
I watched a short video on the SR-71 Blackbird.
Oh man, yeah. What a beautiful jet.
The last run it made from LA to DC for decommissioning, it set 4 speed records.
Was that the one they put in the Smithsonian?
Yeah.
Okay.
The only I want to say total trip was 68 minutes and some change, which was a record. And then they were doing like segments that broke records. St. Louis to Cleveland, I think is what it was. It might have been Cincinnati. But that stretch took 8 minutes. To go from St. Louis to Cleveland took 8 minutes. That's hauling ass. Average speed was 2.7. But the SR-71 was an incredible aircraft as well.
Okay. I actually saw when I was out at Luke, we had a SR-71 come in. It landed broken, so it was there for a week. And while they brought in a crew to fix it, and I'd just gotten a brand new camera. So we went out on the side road, a friend and I did, and I stopped and where I could get I had my line badge with me to where I could get to an area where I could get some decent pictures of it with the F-15s from my unit in the background. And then I got, maybe a dozen or so pictures. Got back in the car, got back in Jose's car, and we're heading back to the barracks. Got pulled over by the Sky Cops.
Yep. We'll take that brand new camera you have. Thank you very much.
And they asked what we was doing. I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, what are you doing with that camera? We saw you doing. I said, so I said, this camera, and opened up the back, pulled out the film canister, and just unwheeled it. I mean, just zing. I said, you mean this film here? And he goes, good enough. Y'all can head on back.
Don't need no trouble here. Thank you very much.
He goes, okay, good enough. That's all you need. We're happy. Right. 2 days later, everybody and their brother was out there taking pictures of it.
Bastards.
And it's like, well, okay. I'm not going to, I got busted once. I'm not going to risk doing it a second time.
I've pushed my luck once already. Luck can only be pushed so many times.
Oh man. We had a jet that was we got in a bit of trouble for it. Back in the 70s, Luke was being a training base. It was on the very bottom for getting parts. So we would cannibalize parts off of another jet to, if we needed a part. We'd order it. It would, no, we don't have it. Go take it off of this jet. So we had one jet that we were literally removing wire harnesses off of it.
I can relate.
We'd already taken the radome off of it. We'd taken the antenna off, the radar antenna off of it. The entire avionics package had been removed. It was so light on the front end, they put concrete barrels and chained it to the nose strut to keep it on the ground because it still had the engines in it. They hadn't removed the engines yet.
Wow, that had that much counterbalance?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Again, things the general public would never know.
And so we went as a joke, got a bunch of cardboard together and cut out a giant prop and took it out and safety wired it to the bulkhead where the radar antenna would hang. The wing commander did not see the humor in that the next morning when he came into work and drove by that jet. You know, seeing it sitting there on the flight line with a giant prop cardboard propeller attached to the nose of it. And somehow or another, a picture of that ended up at Langley, which was the head command unit for that particular department, Langley, Virginia. All of a sudden, we started getting parts in. I mean, we got in so many parts within starting about a week later that they canceled flying for us to put all these jets back together, because there must have been each unit had to have at least 2 or 3 jets that was down for missing parts
for cannibalization.
Right. None of them as bad as that one, but there was a lot of parts missing off of jets. And for about a week, we did nothing but rebuild jets and ops check them and get them ready to fly again. So, female flyer that flew her plane back to home base with only one wing. I hadn't heard that story there, Data. Most of the stories I've heard about female pilots are not
in the best of light.
Yeah, they're not complimentary. They made a big deal about one of the heavies that were flying. It had an all-female crew from the loadmaster all the way up, and they refused to call the cockpit the cockpit. They wanted to change the name. Not understanding the cockpit did not get its name from the male appendage. It is actually a derivative of a French term, which I don't really remember at this time. Now you're going to make me look. I got to look this up. Where did the term cockpit come from? I know it's a French word.
I'm trying to think of how it would have been implemented terminology wise. I'm surprisingly interested in this.
Yeah,
It's called Useless Trivia. I love
Yeah,
usage.
yeah. So do I. But uh, my computer is really slow. I got too many tabs opened up. Okay, here. Okay, referred to an area of the ship where the coxswain station was located. The coxswain being the pilot of the smaller boat could be dispatched. Words coxswain is in turn derives from an Old English term from boat servant.
Yeah.
Coque, C-O-Q-U-E is the French word for shell, and swain is the Old English for boy or servant.
Well, as soon as you said coxswain, I was like, oh, yeah, I have heard this.
Okay, so cockpit came from the French word for shell and boy or servant, and the Old English term for boy and servant.
And I would bet that uh, the term cock for shell was eventually rephrased to conch for conch
Well,
shells.
I can't spell. I can't speak French. So whatever Coque,
That could technically be
that is the French word.
sure, but I could see how that would be or could be over time. Linguistics had changed that
Right,
into conch because it referenced a shell, and there is a conch shell. I
right,
think it's spelled Conch.
right.
But
So,
again, no, I recall it being all the way back into masted ships
so,
back in the olden sailing days, probably as far back as maybe the 1600s.
but that's how I had to look at it. I mean, that's why I had to look it up because I remembered it came from a French term, but I couldn't remember what the term was. Oh, yeah, Paul, you got dirty jokes. Oh man, I tell you what though, the my my if it wasn't for my military life, I never would have met my wife because I would have never moved to Florida from Ohio. I never would have moved down here to Florida. I'd had no reason to move to Florida. So
Damn
therefore,
Yankee.
I never would have met my wife. Uh, and being that she's the only person ever to be able to put up with me. But then if it wasn't for my military career, I don't know if my body'd be as busted up as it is now. You know, the 14 hernias, the two or the three knee surgeries, the shoulder surgery, the screwed up back and knees. Yeah. But then maybe I would have done all that to myself. Who knows?
You would have. The only reason I say that's because I did.
Finding out I had 14 hernias was a major, like, I got how many? When the surgeon said, yeah, you got 14 of them, we can't fix them all on one surgery. You're going to have to come back for multiples. It's like, oh, that's not good.
Oh, like when your doctor calls you, he says, I'll give you a call in a couple of days after I've gone over the reports of your MRI. And he calls you the next morning on his day off at 8 o'clock going, I've already made an appointment at an orthopedic surgeon for you. You need to be there at noon today. And I'm like, excuse me? And he's like, yeah, you broke your leg in 5 places, not one. So yeah, we need
Wait a
to
minute, they
get you.
did an MRI of your leg?
Uh-huh.
not just a X-ray. They actually did an MRI.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
They must have known it was screwed up.
I had what's called a tibial plateau fracture. And basically, it's where your femur hits your shin bone, thigh bone connected to the shin bone. And it put 4 cracks from the top of the tibia at the knuckle straight down the bone, about an inch and a half.
Ooh.
And there's no way to operate on it. I mean, they go in and put a pin across it, but
Right.
and it had already been like 8 days. So there's really nothing they could do. They just said, here's a plastic
Well, yeah.
boot, and try not to walk on it very much. You can take it off at night, but yeah, here you go. Have fun.
Well, we'll just get a radiator hose clamp and clamp the bone back together.
That was, and I want to say I had skied on it for like 3 days.
Damn, that hurt, didn't it?
No, because I had broken my leg 20 years earlier in a motorcycle accident and broke it clean in half and had to have a metal rod. Well, where they put the metal rod in at the top of the shin, all of that is nerve damaged. So I have no feeling in my knee.
Isn't that, there are times where it's really a great thing not to have any feeling in parts of your body, isn't it?
Well, sometimes.
I mean, okay. Like I've got multiple parts of my body. There is no feeling whatsoever. If you push hard enough, I can feel pressure, but that's it.
I can feel the touch on my finger. I can't feel it on my knee.
Right.
If my wife touches my knee, I'll never know it.
So, like on Mondays when I do this, back when I used to do the infusions, and now I just do the singular injection, right?
Yeah.
I've got parts of my abdomen, I've got no feeling. Absolutely none. So
from all the injections.
So, no, from nerve damage. From the autoimmune disease I've got.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And so I, just shoved the needle in my legs when my lymphedema surgeon doctor is doing his thing. He goes, okay, now for a little pinch. And, it's like, I don't feel nothing. Yeah, Paul. When I was active duty, there are several jobs that were labeled as 2-man lift. This is before the military got politically correct and started calling it 2-person lift. And being straight off the farm and still at the time going to the gym quite often and lifting weights because I wanted to be able to maintain a certain amount of strength that I wasn't getting from lift because I wasn't lifting bales of hay anymore. Lifting bales of hay gives you strength, whether you want it or not. Throwing bales of hay around will give you strength, or feed sacks, anything like that. So we would that, like my dad used to say, there's 2 different types of strong. You got Jim Strong and Farmer Strong. Farmer Strong beats Jim Strong any day of the week.
Yep. Because although it's repetitive, it's never the same every time. Each bale of hay, you toss it slightly different, use just tiny different muscles every single bale. Where weightlifters are focusing on specific muscles.
And style and form.
Yeah. And no, I'll take a hay baler any day of the week.
So, so I'd go to the gym and I'd work out, 2, 3 times a week just to maintain strength. And I would carry stuff and do things by myself that technically, there's supposed to be a second person there to help me. And I guess that's how I ended up with the 14 hernias.
Well, I know I'm
Carrying.
stronger now than I was in my 20s.
Oh, I'm not. I am absolutely weaker now than I was when I was even in my 40s.
I 3 weeks before I got let go, so 3 months ago, I was moving 1 inch thick, 22 foot long, 36-inch wide planks of trees by myself.
Wow.
That was part of my job. I was a sawyer. They cut down trees. I put them on the timber mill, and I cut them into 1 inch slabs, and then we made lumber out of that. They were inch and a half, and 3 inches. The 3 inch ones I had to use forklift.
Right.
But yeah, that was part of my job. And the boss or the owner was just like, "Oh, we need to get a second person over there." I said, "No, a second person will slow me down, because every time that person walks anywhere in front of that saw, I have to stop it, even if they're just looking at where the blades can. I got to stop it." And no, you're going to send somebody over here that's not going to do anything. Don't. I can do this by myself. I was trained to do it by myself. I'm more efficient by myself. No. So yeah, I'm much stronger today than I was anytime in my 20s. Once I started working outside, now granted, most of my life was indoor work,
right.
but the last 7, 8, 9 years, I have worked outdoors doing physical labor, rebuilding roads, patching holes, working at a ski resort, working in maintenance, being a mechanic, being a sawyer, being a plumber, I'm far stronger, and I'm not going to say healthier, but I feel healthier. I feel better overall. And once I started building a good core muscle structure, most of my aches and pains went away.
Yeah, and I can't say that. I when I got out of the service, it was like, okay, I am done working outside. I spent 20 years, 17 of my 20 years on the flight line in all weather.
Yeah.
The only time we weren't outside working if there was lightning within 5 miles. Then they made us shut down. So then they moved it to lightning within 10. Shut down at lightning within 10. But so a mountaintop in Germany, we would have steel rods that were 2 inches in diameter, about 7 foot tall, because they were taller than I was, and I'm 6'3". And they come down to like a chiseled point, and we'd use that to bust up the ice in front of the aircraft shelters, just so that we could get the planes out of the shelter. And of course, shovel the snow.
Yeah, I know those breaking bars. Oh yeah.
Yeah. We did. I have no idea what the official name for them were. We just called them the toothpicks.
We
No,
just called them a bar. If you needed a
they
rock broken, you give Lucio a bar, and that rock will be broken. Lucio was this 55-year-old little Mexican guy, about 4'8", but the dude had no fear, and he could destroy anything.
anything but that bar.
Oh, he bent a couple of them.
Mm.
I was just like, damn. I seen walking across the spine of a greenhouse 40 feet in the air, a double greenhouse. And he'd just be
Right.
walking along the top of the spine going, plastic roof, 6 mil thick. The only thing keeping him from the ground.
He did not weigh much.
Dude has no fear.
Well, that's not me.
Not me either.
When I was on the base swim and dive team, the first 2 days going off the 3 meter board was like, okay, I'm just going to go up there and I'm just jumping off. I'm not attempting any dives. I'm just climbing the board and climbing up and jumping.
Feet first, it's the only way to go.
That for the first few times, yeah. I had to get over that fear of, just being even 3 meter board, knowing you're hitting water that's not going to destroy you. But, I'll tell you the worst thing though is this damn claustrophobia I've developed. I absolutely hate that.
How small a space does it have to be?
If I can touch the walls if I can touch all 4 walls without moving, that's too small. Okay, so obviously I can handle an MRI as long as my head and shoulders are outside of it.
I can't have an MRI again.
Oh, because of the steel rod?
No, I have a metal stent in my heart.
Oh.
No, I made them take the metal rod out. As a matter of fact, I have it right here in my hand.
Did you? There was a TV show, one of the medical TV shows. This doctor or somebody ordered an MRI on a guy, and this nurse come running up and stopped it. Turned out he had a metal implant in his penis to help him get erect. And that would not be a good thing inside of a MRI. And they had the guy strapped into it and was getting ready to start it up, of course, when but no, I was real the thing with the MRI that got me, I was not bad in one until I was inside of an MRI. And I'd always close my eyes and just, went to someplace else whenever I was in the MRI before. And I was inside that thing today, getting my head and neck, shoulders, whatever, get my upper body scanned. And they came in, and one of the nurses, rather than talking to me through the speaker system, they shook my foot, grabbed my foot and started shaking it because they wanted to talk to me. And I opened my eyes, and that thing is right there, like just an inch or two above your nose.
Yeah. No, I've been there.
And they said they were, they had the crap attached to me, and they said my blood pressure went so high they was afraid I was going to burst blood vessels.
Wow.
And that that machine does not move that fast in moving you out of it.
No, that bed is a slow roll.
They do not have an emergency evacuation mode on them, which they should. They really should have that to get somebody out of there in a hurry. And by the time I got out of there, I'd shit myself, I'd pissed myself, and I was, I mean, I was in bad shape. I mean, I was, I was in no function. They actually had to give me shot to get me, and they admitted me in the hospital overnight to get me
That,
before. Yeah,
yeah.
that's how bad it was. So now I've got to take enough Xanax that I'm a zombie. Either that or else I travel to Tallahassee for it's an open MR. It's a really it's not an open MRI that you would think of. I mean, when they did the MRI in my head, they put a football helmet on me, basically. And the walls for the MRI just barely passed my shoulders, but it was completely open in the front. It was great.
I just DM'd you a picture of the metal rod that was in my leg. 13 inches long, weighs 4 ounces.
Oh, wow. That don't weigh hardly anything.
4 ounces?
Yeah. That's hardly nothing.
Now, a buddy of mine broke his leg exactly the same way. Motorcycle accident, sheared in half. Right. He got a hollow titanium rod.
Ooh.
I was jealous. That thing looks so sexy.
My grandfather had a steel plate in his head. Oh, okay. My grandfather had a steel plate in his head, and then they replaced it and put in a plastic or fiberglass or something. They replaced it with one that was a lot lighter because the plate that was in his head was from World War II.
That's cool. They were able to do that.
And they replaced it. So he had that plate sitting on the top of the television set.
Yeah, I when they took it out, I told them I wanted it because I paid for it.
Yeah.
Not only did I pay for it with money, I paid for it with pain.
I really would have figured it would have been straight, but it's curved.
Yeah, and that's so it would go more towards the skin so they could put it in and take it out. Because it was literally a T-handle was screwed on it and it was slid down next to the bone.
Oh, okay. So it didn't run through the marrow of the bone.
Not that I'm aware of. It might have. I don't know. I never asked. It may have actually gone down the center of my shin. But based on the scar, it's off to the side.
Right.
But again, it may have gone in not the way I'm thinking. It went in more sideways to where the threads would be pointing more to the inside of my knee as opposed to the top or the front of my knee. But again, I don't know. I don't really care. I just have this hunk of metal that I hand it to people and they go, "Oh, what's this?" I said, "That was in my leg for a year." They go, "Ew," and drop it.
When I was 16, I was working on a neighbor's farm and we were rolling brush and such up into his front end loader. He was driving the front end loader. I'm rolling the brush up on it, right? And it was kind of muddy out. And a log got caught underneath the front tire and then squirted out and hit me in the leg, right above my boot. And hit me in the right leg on the inside. And I fell down, of course. And when he couldn't see me anymore, he stopped the tractor, which is a good thing, or else he would have ran me over. Okay. and they got me to the hospital because I couldn't walk. My leg really hurt, and my leg, like yours, was broken across and vertically. And they put me in a hard cast for 10 weeks.
Wow. 10?
Yeah, 10 weeks in a hard cast.
When I broke mine and they put the metal rod in, I was in it for 40, 41, 42 days, 7 weeks,
Uh,
6 weeks.
and I was doing driver's ed with my right leg in a cast. So I
I,
just,
I was
I,
driving a stick shift with a cast above my knee.
oh, now this was a full cast from toes to hip.
No, mine just went above the knee, about
Now,
4 inches above the knee.
now mine was a full cast. So that made, needless to say, I actually did not drive a car, but since I was on a farm, they signed me off because they knew I'd been driving the truck and the tractors and everything on the farm. You didn't need a license to drive a truck or anything on your own property.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was a better driver than most of the kids were, and I could drive a stick shift. Our farming town where I grew up, the doctor's office, the church, and the corner grocery store all had tractor parking.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Uh,
I can remember
because
that up at my grandmother's up in
they all
Illinois.
they all had tractor parking, and then it was split into two. You had tractor parking for like the little Ford 4000s that we had, all the way up to the big John. Then another area for the big John Deeres, the ones that could pull, the big stuff. So yeah, they're going to church, riding a tractor. That would, or go to the doctor's appointment. We had one doctor in town, and his office was at his house, and he had tractor parking. That's where all of us, when we had to go for our school physicals and such,
Yeah.
you know, just called him up and set up appointments with him. Had a grocery store that had, car parking and tractor parking. And in the wintertime, the grocery store delivered groceries on snowmobiles to the
I want to say that I know there is in Canada, but I want to say in the US, there is a way to get from Western Washington to Minneapolis via snowmobile trails. And there are literal gas stations in the middle of nowhere where they sled the gas in.
huh.
But I want to say there is an actual snowmobile track from Western Washington to Minnesota.
That's gotta be, sort of like the iron butt,
Mm-hmm.
for motorcyclists.
Yeah.
Uh, we had a guy doing the Alaska to Keys ride. Stop in at the hotel one year because we had to timestamp his card.
The guy I bought my first motorcycle from did the corner to corner ride on a motorcycle. He did it on a BMW.
What was this guy? I don't remember what this guy was writing. He was writing uh, He was riding a big Harley. I mean, one of the big Harleys had the huge saddlebags and trunk on it.
Something like an FLX Super Glide or something.
I I'm
Like the
not a
one.
Harley fan. I'm more of a Honda Goldwing and Silverwing fan. The old Silverwings, not the new ones. These new Silverwings are ugly.
I want to get an adventure bike, dual sport, on road, off road.
So
I can't do sport bikes anymore.
I would have to get a trike if I were to get another bike. That's all there is to it. I just have to get a trike. Uh, because I wouldn't trust my legs to keep me
Yeah.
vertical at a stoplight. Okay, when I was at Luke, we had a senior master sergeant retire. About 2 weeks or so after retirement, he's sitting on his motorcycle at a red light. Cop pulls up behind him, state cop or sheriff. I just know it wasn't a local cop. And the light turned green. He didn't move. Light turns red. He's still there. Light turns green again. Doesn't move. So the cop gets out of his car. The guy died at the red light while sitting at a red light.
Oh, wow.
And and he didn't topple over.
Legs just locked.
Evidently. And and it was really just outside of the base. So
That's a bummer.
yeah, and like I said, he'd only been retired a couple of weeks. Because I remember thinking, how many people, they got out of the military after 20, 25. He'd had like 25, 26 years in. How many people gotten out of the military and then they were so used to that military life that they couldn't handle civilian life?
Oh yeah,
And,
institutionalized.
and something like that happened to him.
Oh,
That
I can fully see that.
that's why my last year in the military, when I knew I was being forced out at my 20-year mark, it was like, yeah, okay, I gotta start thinking and acting like a civilian now.
I gotta start decompressing.
Yeah, and I did. The commander told me I was acting like I was retired my last 6 months, but he didn't mind. I still did my job, and I kept both. That I worked directly for the commander my last 2 years, 2.5 years in the service, and he says, as long as you keep, he goes, as long as you keep me out of jail, then you'll be happy. And I looked at him and said, what do you mean by that? He goes, because if I end up in jail because of you, you'll be sharing the cell with me.
You won't have to worry about being reinstitutionalized.
So I kept us both out of jail my last 2.5 years in the service. Now, see, what it was is they wanted to medically retire me. And the commander asked me if I wanted to, and I said, no, I'd rather put in my 20. So he says, well, okay, I'll pull you off the flight line and you come work for me up in the orderly room then.
At least you had a
Okay.
cool CO.
So, my last two commanders were absolutely fantastic. They were great people. My last first sergeant was did not like her one bit. We sent where her and I got off on the wrong foot. She took over. First sergeant took over it was still summertime out, and we sent the young airmen out to mow the lawn and to clip the bushes. Well, the young airmen were all female. And as two NCOs, we were the only two males in the unit that worked out of the orderly room. And both of us are E6s. And we sent the E2s and threes out to mow the lawn and trim the bushes. And this first sergeant, she come in and she asked why the women were out mowing the lawn and men were sitting inside. Didn't we know lawn work was the man's job? And both of us looked at her, and we looked down at our arms. We looked back at her, and we looked back down at our arms, and said, "No, that." And the other guy, spoke up and goes, "No, lawn work is airmen's work, not NCO's work."
we need to reclassify this, please.
And she did not like that because even though she's first sergeant, she had no direct control over us, because both of us worked directly for the commander. And yeah, she did. The year and a half she was there was absolutely hell. She was absolutely miserable person to be around.
I know people like that.
Turn me off real quick to females being in positions of authority. Well, her and another one that got a guy in trouble for having a picture of his wife on his desk. Well, a picture of a family picture at the beach, and his wife was in a two-piece swimsuit. And
that just sounds feminist to me.
And they got a female got promoted to E7, and they were putting her in an office job, and she saw that picture and turned him in. Didn't ask him to take the picture down. She just turned him in as having a photograph of a woman in a bikini on his desk, and she found that offensive. It was the guy's wife with their two kids on the beach. Yeah, she's wearing a two-piece swimsuit, but it wasn't like a string bikini or anything. It was a mom's two-piece swimsuit.
Right.
It wasn't your girlfriend's two-piece. It was your mom's two-piece.
It was also in the 70s and early 80s.
Actually, it was in the 90s.
That's when it started going, I'm not going to say downhill. That's when it radically changed the swimsuit industry.
Right. Well, yeah, but it was still a mom's swimsuit in like 96, 97. So it was a mama swimsuit. I mean, the bottoms come up almost to her belly button.
Yeah.
So, and her butt was actually covered. It didn't have a piece of dental
Didn't have
floss
cheek poking out.
Didn't have dental floss going up between the cheeks. So, well, we've been yapping here for a little bit for right at 2 hours, and as always, I've got business to take care of.
Yes, but what day is it?
It's Tuesday.
Okay.
It ain't Friday.
Okay. Just checking.
I'll make him put up a new thumbnail and fix that. Oh. Let's see. Where is this one here? So on the way out the door, red is bad.
Avoid all red lights. Yes, red is bad.
Salam, everyone. I just gotta ask, who's cosplaying? See, cosplaying is when you dress up as something that you aren't or someone you aren't. I am a Muslim woman. I wear what a Muslim woman wears. I dress like that. So, who's cosplaying here? I think you need to learn the words that you're trying to use because they ain't listening to me yet. Everyone.
I love to see him go to, go somewhere in the Middle East, go to Dubai, go to Iran, go to Gaza.
Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Iraq, Afghanistan.
I've got a feeling I'm not going to live down this Tuesday is Friday thing. I think I've just created some stream lore.
Data, I don't think this one could fly with just one wing. I don't think it could fly with two wings.
Okay. Let's see here. Where is it at? There it is. And
the rotating shroom.
Oh,
the screaming shroom. That one's cool too. I like both of those. Those are awesome.
AI is great. I love it.
I've not delved into it that much. I'm not that interested in it right now.
I created both of these this morning.
I did my avatar. That's it.
The new updated Copilot came out, and they asked if I wanted to try making a video. So I decided to try to do a video.
Both of those are very well done.
Yeah, literally a wing and a prayer. Yeah, Data, you're not wrong about that. Okay, so everybody, y'all have a good weekend. Enjoy yourself. Good weekend. Y'all have a good day. I will. I'll be back on Thursday, day after tomorrow.